Hey everybody, it's Rick again. What I want to do on this video today is show you how I carve out a fish body. I'll give you a few tips on this. So let's get started. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is find some kind of a medium or paper or plastic I want to trace my fish out on. I like using cardboard or some kind of brown wrapping paper. I do not ever use any newspaper. Some people like to use heavy plastic. I recommend a 6mm plastic and mark it with a magic marker. First thing I'm going to do is take an ink pen or magic marker, and on this piece of cardboard I'm going to trace out the outline of my fish. I'm starting at the back of the eye, and I'm just going to run right along the fish, the outside of the fish, the soft dorsal fin back here. I'm going to skip over it, go right behind it, and trace up to the end of the caudal of your fish. Now I'm going to go underneath the throat latch, or right directly underneath the eye, and again I'm going to run right along the perimeter of my bass, starting at my anal fin, skipping over it and going in behind it, and again trace up to the end of the caudal tail fin. Now once I do my outline tracing, I'm going to go directly behind the eye, and I'm just going to make a mark straight up. Again on the throat latch, same thing. Next I'm going to go behind the gill plate, or beginning of your gill plate right here, and I'm going to make another mark. This is for reference. Now I'm going to go back here to the caudal fin. At the very beginning where the rays run into the fin, I'm going to make a mark on each side. Then where the fin itself comes down to a little point at the caudal, I'm going to make a reference here also. Now, some people like to make a thickness reference of your fish. So what I recommend to do is taking a pair of calipers. Now what I'm going to be doing is taking a pair of calipers, set of calipers, and I'm going to go just lift the fish up, and I'm starting at the gill plate or the gill cover, and I'm just going to squeeze this and pull it off, and just about that very same. You got your reference lines right here. I'm going to go in this general area here. I'm just going to mark 2 points, 2 marks right at the end of my caliper, showing the thickness of this fish. Now I'm going to do this continuously, doing this all the way through the fish. Now, where I have skipped over the soft dorsal and the vent fins, I'm just going to connect where I have left off and picked up with my tracing. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, remember the marks that we made, the reference marks we made on the eyeball and the throat latch, and on the outside or at the beginning of the gill cover. All I'm going to do is make a circular cutaway or circular tracing line, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to create my throat. Next, on my caudal, I'm going to take this very first mark, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to make a circle or a curve using these 2 reference marks. Next, I'm going to take my pattern. I've cut this away from the rest of my cardboard. Take a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to cut this out, following this tracing of my fish, and we're going to cut this completely out all the way around it. Now, got my fish pattern cut out. What I'm wanting to trace this out on is a piece of blue foam insulation board. This is like an inch and a half blue foam. You can buy this at most of your hardwares. This is, like I say, insulation board. It's about $28 a sheet. One sheet could do a lot of fish bodies. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to trace this out. I've determined it's going to take about 3 tracings of this. So all I'm going to do is lay this pattern down and just go around it and trace out your shape. And then we're going to take this to the bandsaw and cut it out. Now that we've got our panels all cut out, got 3 of them. My favorite stuff to put this together with is using Gorilla Glue. So what we're going to do is we're going to go by the directions on this Gorilla Glue, and we are going to first take a spritzer bottle and spritzer down our first panel with some water. Then next we're going to go back over this with your glue, and you don't take a whole lot, but just stream this out of your bottle. You don't have to do this real thick, but just make several ribbons. I like to zigzag it back and forth on my panels. You don't have to spread this with anything, just the reaction with the water will help it spread. All I'm going to do is place this section down and do the same thing to my next one. Now I have my second piece ready for the third piece. I'm just going to place this on top, and now we're going to line everything up as much as possible. Now I'm going to take 2 pins. I like to save these pieces of wire that I use in my shop, bend them on one end and sharpen them on the other for stuff like this, and I'm just going to push this wire all the way through each piece, all the way through the whole thing. This will keep everything lined up. Next, I'm going to take some kind of a heavy object, and I'm going to lay right on top of this, and this will help mash everything down and hold it in place while it's drying. Now, while this is drying, I'm going to go ahead and skin out my fish, get my skin ready to be mounted, and then I'm going to start carving this once this is set up. It generally takes an hour and a half or so for the glue to set up to the point that you can carve this piece.